Hi everyone, it's Desiree and I am here with Spellbinders and another new release. This one is by Susan Blackburn Tierney. She does beautiful dies to provide realistic florals. So here are just three from her collection: the Clematis, the Peach Blossom, which is what I'm showing right now, and then the one in the middle is the Dogwood. I will be showing two videos on this, and first up, I'm going to focus on the Dogwood. So the die set came with this branch. Now I die cut it multiple times, and I'm going to layer it 3 times. I used a dark brown cardstock for the branch, and then I will come in with a black alcohol marker or a very dark brown and just skip along this piece. It'll give it some shading and not look so flat. I did 3 of those sets. I'm now coming in with some tumbled glass, oxide ink, and one of my makeup brushes here. And I am just filling in the background. I'm not filling it in totally. I'm just giving a hint of blue ink or the sense of a sky in the background, just to put something back there. Again, to not let it look so flat. Now, I had placed these against each other because I want this branch to look like it's climbing up this slimline card that I'm making here. So I'm going to glue these in place, and I am going to let that hang over because I will trim that. And then the other ones, I've already placed the notch, and I'm just going to set that right up against that branch. Now, I also do plan where these are connecting to put a dogwood, to put one of these flowers there. So it'll hide the seam. But because I cut it and trimmed it along that branch, you really can't see it. So if you don't cover it up, no stress. Please, no stress. And you can see I just whisked along with a dark brown or black alcohol marker. Now I have the centers and I have the cup. I forget what that's called, but I'm going to call it the cup. Let's go with the cup. And I'm just adding a little bit of the Rustic Wilderness dye ink just to give them some shading and coloring. And on the inside, I'm going to come in with the small stylus and just push down into the center of these. These will give that, by doing that onto the foam pad, it'll give it that cup shape. Now, the tool set that I'm using is by Susan. She has that through Spellbinders, and it comes with a tool-in-one and just wonderful tools such as styluses, the leaf cutter, which is not really a cutter, a pair of scissors, a pair of tweezers. There's 2 tweezers in there. So it's a really nice shape if you like to form your die cuts. For the centers, I'm using some white pigment ink with a dauber just on the end. I want to lighten these up, but I do want them to have a green. So the dogwood that I'm looking at, it's the pink dogwood. It's not the white one, but it's got a lot of pink in it, but the center of it is green, and the tips of the leaves are green. Now, I didn't think that I had enough white, so I'm adding just little dots, not perfectly, of my liquid white watercolor. I'm then going to trim these in half. This will help when I roll these up on themselves and I fluff them out. It'll make it look fuller by doing that. And again, all of these tricks and tips that I'm giving you, I did learn from Susan's videos. They are just, it's amazing. Her thoughts on these dies and what it was going to produce and how real these flowers look. So I do encourage you to check out her videos through Spellbinders. I will leave her name down below so that you can do that search and find all of her videos because she has many. She does a video for each of her florals that she does design. So you can see I put a little bit of glue along the bottom, and then I rolled it up, and then I pulled it off the tweezers. Yes, it will stick to your tweezers. Trust me. Ask me how I know. Had to do more die cutting. I'm just saying. So again, I'm going to pull in my alcohol markers, and I wanted to pull them in to provide that coloring. And I'm using 2 shades of green. On the back side, I'm just going to use the 1 shade just to give it color. But alcohol markers are nice. And you can use Sharpies too, because they are alcohol markers. They will flatten themselves out. Now I'm coming in with the leaf tool, creating that center line, and folding them in half. So I'm taking that leaf, I'm going to take my tweezers along that bend, keep it pinched, and I'm going to grab my tool in one again with the medium stylus and just curl out that tip on the other side. So it just gives it a flowiness to those leaves. And that's a technical word, flowiness. And what I was working on, and it comes in that kit, it's like a hard piece of hard chipboard that's covered that you can constantly make those creases in. For the dogwoods, you need 2, and that's something else that's great with these dies. It actually says it gives you the number of times that you have to die cut your pieces on the die, depending upon how many, flowers you want to make. But you do need to have both of these petals to make the dogwood. I came in with a light peach and then a medium peach, and they will go back in color. And then I'm coming in with a very bright green, almost like a chartreuse, and just going in that notch that's sitting in that floral, just on the edge. I'm going to bring these in, and this is the Petal Creator. It really breaks down those fibers just by running it along. You don't have to run it too many times, 3, maybe 4. Taking the tweezers, folding it at half, and then bending back the side of those petals just a little bit. Again, by breaking these fibers and molding these flowers, it just gives so much realism to the image. I'm using my Kids' Choice glue. When it comes to this type of work, when I am layering and just really collaging a lot of leaves into something, this is my glue of choice. No pun intended there, Kids' Choice glue. It is by Beacon. And by layering those 2 layers up, I put it into the cup that is sitting on those branches. And I'm fluffing out the center. And I'm going to use my tweezers to dip into the glue and then just set that right down in there. And that's what each flower will look like. So I've taken care of making all my flowers and my leaves. I don't think you all needed or wanted to watch each one of those. But now I'm just setting each of these flowers into those cups and then using the small stylus to make sure that it's pushed down so that that cup that's holding the flower is going to wrap around it and engulf that base. So it looks like it's actually growing from that branch. You can see I've done 7 of these, and it looks like it's just climbing right up. The dimension that you get with these is just wonderful. And that glue, I am a fan of that glue. I get it off of Amazon. But these flowers are sturdy, very, very sturdy and thick. And I do apologize for that noise in the background. It stopped. It really secures them. Now, don't get me wrong. This is very dimensional. This is going to have a lot of postage. This is not going to go into an envelope. To give this to somebody, if you're mailing it, it would have to go into a box with tissue paper around it. When I put these in my shop, that's exactly how I do ship them out. Again, because you want to keep that. But I've pressed on this, and it is very solid, which I find phenomenal. So you can see that I've put the centers in. Now I'm going to come in with those leaves, and I'm just going to fill this in when it comes to all of these leaves and the placement. When it came to choosing my color, what dogwood I wanted to do, all I did was I Googled dogwood images and just found one that I liked. You can use any medium to recreate that color. For this, I chose my alcohol markers. You could use watercolors. You can use colored pencils. You can use whatever medium that you have to provide the color. You can use your inks. Don't forget your inks as well, to be able to give your florals the color that you want. I'm going to matte this using the Spellbinders Gold Shimmer cardstock. And then I'm going to also have a brown matte behind this as well. Now, my bottle always clogs up because I forget to put the pin back in it. Or leave it on the side. I find if I leave it on the side, it doesn't dry up as fast if I keep working. Now, if you leave it there overnight, it's going to dry up. You're going to have to put a pin in it. And that is our slim line. I'm not going to add a sentiment. I think all of this is going to make just a beautiful note card. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope I've piqued your interest in creating a very dimensional floral type card and gave you some tips and tricks that I have learned from Susan and from her videos. Again, I'll make sure her name is linked down below so that you can search for her videos. As always, the products that I use will be listed down below in the video description, and if you would like to check them out, please feel free to see all of the collections that she has available. If you have a question, make sure you leave that down below, and I'll make sure I get back to you as soon as I can. Remember, enjoy this process. I will always tell you this, and I will keep telling you this. Enjoy. Enjoy what art you create and how it looks, because it's your creation. But remember what's always most important to me. Always be creative. Stay tuned for part 2.